I do believe that what really gives motivation to the ladies is to work within a society which providing through true equity and meritocracy. What I mean by this is that we should be able to assess the skills and the value of each individual independently, will there be women or men. And I think that's really a strong motivation for ladies to participate to the economic life, to be able to develop this kind of society. We have to remember that also society which are benefiting from different type of leadership get stronger, and we know perfectly that even if in the old ages, so let's say a few years ago, the leadership were very much associated to strong men leading companies and being the main leader. We realize across the countries in the world that having a diversity of type of leadership within the organization makes it stronger, and I think that ladies and men together, working together, can complement each other beautifully within the leadership team of a hotel in our case, or within the restaurant industry. I think it's also important for a society that evolves to be able to dismantle the different barriers that can exist. There are no jobs which are restricted to men or to women in many of the countries nowadays, and we need us, from a tourism standpoint, to be able to support this. So, for instance, we are supporting any application for any type of jobs and treating the women and the men resumes the same way. And I think that's what the women today are looking for. They want really this kind of society that gives them these opportunities to be not given a preferential role, but to be given an equal. So that's why I was talking about equity. The same advantages or the same views or the same assessment that the men are getting. First of all, there is the element of true mentorship. It's extremely important to support the development of ladies in the organization, that we provide mentorship, so mentors, will they be women or men, in order for the new talent which are joining the organization, who have appetite to grow and to develop, to understand what can be done and how they can grow within the company, within their role, within the organization. So mentorship is really for me the point number one. When we're talking as well about development and leadership, you're talking about having programs which are ensuring that ladies are integrated. I talk very often with the team about pipeline, the pipeline of talent that we need for the future. We have 34 hotels in operations right now. By the end of 2026, we'll have more than 60 properties in the country. So this requires lots of leaders to manage those properties, lots of employees to work in those hotels. And we want to make sure that the pipeline programs, so leadership programs, management programs, apprenticeship programs, do integrate ladies as well. So one of our key actions is also to make sure that at every single level which are building the pipeline of the talent of tomorrow, we ensure that we have ladies integrated within those programs as well. Because if you want leaders tomorrow, you need those people to integrate the pipeline of talent that we are building. Last but not least, a sentence I've been using in many countries before, because I've been working on this topic as well in other countries, is that inspiration leads to motivation. I've been using this quote for many years. And what I mean by this is that by highlighting some female leaders that have been successful, that have been growing through the organization, you inspire people and you motivate people to think about getting the same kind of jobs. We have been able to appoint the first lady resident manager, fully in charge of our latest property in Lahore, that is the PC residence that opened 3 or 4 months ago. We have been appointed the first lady HR director, or PNC as we call it, people and culture, in a resort which was not done because of remote areas, and we have been able to do this. We have a lady in charge of our largest banqueting facilities in Lahore. So by showing and highlighting those ladies who are already working in the organization, you create this inspiration, motivating people to join as well. So I think all those elements are really encouraging self-advocacy and making sure that the talent gets motivated to join the organization by seeing that we can welcome them, we can grow them, and they can be the leader of the organization tomorrow. Well, first of all, we have been doing kind of audits to understand where we are standing in terms of the pay gap, to make sure there is no gender pay gap within our organization. So at equal role, the women and the men should have the same salary, so we have ensured of this. We have looked as well at the duties that they are doing in the hotels to make sure that no role have been limited for some of the ladies to be able to participate. So we have really opened the roles for men and women as much as we could. We have created flexible working hours arrangements in order to show flexibility both for men and women, because when we talk about equity, it's not about providing some advantages more to one than the other, but making sure that both can benefit from it. So this flexibility of work means that, for instance, our team members can have a timetable where they start a bit earlier, or they finish a bit later, or they finish a bit earlier, in order to adapt to their family style, if they need to collect their kids from school, for instance, things like this. Or if the husband is sick and they cannot take care of the kids, collecting the kids or picking up the kids, the lady can do it, and vice versa with the men. So we are really trying to work this flexibility. We have also worked on trainings which are, how do I call it, it's called bias training. So basically it's to make sure that there is not preconceived thinking that ladies cannot do things. So those trainings are both actually for men and women. On the men's side, it's for the men to understand that women are able to do many of the jobs that they can do as well, and for them also to understand what it means to have ladies within the organization, because it requires as well a different way of working, because you need to understand that you have both men and women at the same location, and we are working with a population which is quite young in our hotels, because you remember that most of the positions that we have in hotels are rank and file position, which mean young age, which mean Gen Z, millennials, and the interaction between men and women needs also to be managed. And for the ladies, for them to understand all the potential that they have as well, and all the opportunities that can exist. Just to give you an example, one of the lady I was talking with last year told me, but sir, there has always been a man taking decisions for me. Will it be my brother, my father, my uncle? Can I really take the decision to apply for this job? And we said, yes, certainly, we are here to support you, and this kind of job is open to everybody. The leadership program, within the leadership program, we have integrated what we call the gender lens. So making sure that within our leadership program, there is an understanding, again, from both men and women, on how benefiting from the leadership skills of different styles. You know, for many years, ladies, for instance, will have been associated to being too soft or being too assertive. But the men doing exactly the same thing will not be judged the same way. So we integrated this within the leadership training in order for both ladies to understand how their skills, which are sometimes a bit more in contact with the team, in bit more communicative, can totally complement some other skills than leaders have got in the hotels in order to create the right experience for the guest and the right environment for the team. It comes back to the first, I would say the first element comes back to the same, which is the unconscious thoughts that the people have got. So I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm thinking that maybe you look at me, I've got a little belly, you think this gentleman is eating a bit too much, but maybe I've got a medical problem that you don't know about. So we have those unconscious thoughts which are coming. So as an organization, like any organization, and especially when you think about the thousands of team members that we have in the organization, we keep on working against stereotype. we keep on reinforcing the fact that all options are on the table for everybody. Everybody can grow, everybody can learn, everybody can develop, everybody can read leadership position. We also have the hospitality, because it's a business which is 24/7. We are never closing. So we are very conscious about the work-life balance situation, and that we need to integrate this as well in the way we are dealing with the team. Because especially, for instance, when you have a mix of younger people in the hotel, and maybe some people which are a bit older, their life is different. The rhythm of the life is different. You don't have the same life when you are single, when you're married, when you have young kids, when you have older kids. So all those elements, we are trying to take it into account in order to have the work-life balance which is respected. But that's not easy, I have to admit it, but it's something that we have in our mind as well. Something else that we have in the mind is what I call the midlife career challenge. Why? Because, for instance, when you start getting kids, so will it be the man or the woman? For the woman, you get pregnant, not all the ladies will be able to keep working throughout the pregnancy. Then we need to make sure we are looking at the way we provide maternity, paternity leaves in order to support the overall family. So these kind of things are really new things in the market, and we are trying to integrate it as well. The main challenge, because we are mostly a domestic company right now, even if we are looking at some development internationally, like in Saudi Arabia, is to assess the cultural impact. Because again, even within the same country, when you look at the impact within the large communities or large cities, Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, the impact is not the same from the cultural angle when you compare to Sahiwal, Sargodha, Unza. So that's also something that we have to work on in order to make sure that this understanding is not only in the large cities, but is throughout the portfolio that we have. And with more than 60 hotels by the end of 2026, that's really a constant challenge for us to maintain. So as I mentioned, we really integrate this in every single training that we are doing within the company. Because by doing so, actually, there is kind of a trickle effect. First of all, we train, we show, we explain, we coach. That's the beginning. But what it leads to creating advocates. Because what we want is not just people who are trained, just think that they understood and then go back to work like they were doing yesterday, but really become an advocate by seeing the work which is being done by the people who are recruited and promoted or hired for specific position, and to become advocate that this parity, this equity between men and women at work is really a benefit to the company. So trainings, advocacy, I would say that role modeling by showing the good that's coming to the company, both on the way men are welcoming some women within their team, or the way some team are welcoming a leader with a lady. Showing those role modeling as well is extremely important because it's demonstrating that it works and it creates trust. So all those things together, the learning with the coaching, the advocacy and the trust development are really supporting the main engagement in this topic as well. The coalition has got a fabulous website showcasing many tangible examples of what can be done and what can be deployed within different companies. So this already is a great base because there are showcases of companies that have implemented it, have had the proper impact, and you can take this and bring it up to your own company. So I think this element by itself is extremely good. The engagement as well that we have, for instance, at the CEO level, we have roundtable on a regular basis, which are kind of peer-to-peer engagement. And this is really supporting the exchange and to learn from different industries. Because, for instance, in the country, we have 2 hospitality companies, but we have many companies around different industries. You're talking about petroleum, you're talking about agriculture, you're talking about banking, you're talking about telephone, you're talking about TVs, you're talking about different industries, and we are not all facing the same challenges. But this peer-to-peer exchange is really helping us to benefit from one from each other. And also, what I think we could do even further is to tailor some of the solutions per industry. Because as much as we can learn from each other in the different industries, being able to have a zoom in even stronger on some of the industries will help branch out to more partners, to more potential members of the coalition that will even better understand through the example provided on the website how they could join, how they can participate. One last element I think I should highlight is the public participation. What I mean by this, public engagement participation, because we have very limited visibility to the outside world. Yeah, so it's mostly a B2B communication that we are doing. But if we are given opportunities for some of the members of the coalition, like for instance us, to go to some press events or to go to some conferences and focus the communication on what we are doing in our companies in order to support the coalition efforts, I think that could bring the coalition to the next stage and give it a larger platform for it to be fully recognized, both B2B and B2C. Leading by examples, definitely. I've tried to share this during this interview and I hope I succeeded, but it's really about setting those new standards because from the moment some smaller companies maybe will see that those large companies are doing it, it will give them the inspiration to do it as well. I think that sharing best practices transparently, not hiding things, but showing to the other companies what we are doing, what has a positive impact, could also resonate with many other leaders, will it be within the hospitality or outside the hospitality. Being definitely an advocate, because each of us around the table, as the CEO table, we are all strong advocates of the coalition and the positive impact it has on different companies. So this definitely as well, it's a strong point. As much as we can foster some change in our companies and try to do it as well at the country level, especially when we are impacting multiple industries, I would say that what is really the strongest impact we can have is fostering this culture throughout and across the country. Not to limit it only to the large cities which are already a bit more cosmopolitan and with a different understanding of the positive impact of women leadership within the business, but to foster the culture throughout the country, explaining constantly, and definitely being a true representation of the positive impact it can have on business.